Humans have mapped the surface of Mars in greater detail than parts of our own planet. There are places on Earth so deep, isolated, and dangerous that reaching them is still nearly impossible. Some are buried beneath miles of ice. Others sit at the bottom of oceans, where pressure can crush steel in seconds. And the deeper scientists explore these places, the stranger the discoveries become. The Mariana Trench is the deepest known point on Earth. At its lowest point, the Challenger Deep drops nearly 7 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean. The pressure there is more than 1,000 times stronger than at sea level. A human body would be destroyed instantly. Only a handful of people have ever reached the bottom. More humans have walked on the moon than visited the deepest part of Earth's oceans. And even after decades of research, most of the trench remains completely unexplored. Down there, sunlight does not exist. The water is permanently black. Temperatures hover just above freezing, and every movement happens slowly beneath crushing pressure. Scientists once believed almost nothing could survive at those depths. They were wrong. Cameras lowered into the trench captured fish with transparent heads. Their skulls are so clear that their brains can be seen from the outside. Giant single-celled organisms, larger than grapefruits, sit motionless on the seafloor. Some creatures produce flashes of bioluminescent light, unlike anything recorded closer to the surface. But the strangest discoveries were not visual. In 2014, researchers detected deep metallic sounds echoing through the trench. Long groaning noises repeated through the darkness like massive objects shifting underwater. The sounds did not match earthquakes, whales, or known geological activity. Then scientists noticed something else. Tracks. Long drag marks stretched across the ocean floor. Some trails continued for hundreds of feet before disappearing into darkness. Whatever created them was large enough to leave visible scars across the sediment. The cameras never found the source. At those depths, searching is almost impossible. Equipment fails constantly. Visibility disappears within seconds. Even advanced submersibles can only remain there for short periods before the pressure becomes too dangerous. Yet something continues, moving at the bottom of the trench, and humanity still does not know what it is. Far beneath Antarctica lies a place even more isolated than the Mariana Trench. Lake Vostok sits under more than 2 miles of solid ice. It has been sealed away from the outside world for around 15 million years. That means the lake was isolated long before modern humans even existed. Scientists drilled through the ice, hoping to study ancient water untouched by Earth's atmosphere. What they found raised disturbing questions. The water contained microorganisms unlike anything in known biological databases. Some genetic sequences appeared almost completely unfamiliar. Researchers discovered bacteria capable of surviving conditions that should kill normal life instantly. No sunlight reaches Lake Vostok. Photosynthesis should be impossible there. Yet oxygen levels inside the water are strangely high. Something inside the lake may still be producing it. Then sonar scans detected movement. Large objects appeared beneath the frozen surface before disappearing back into darkness. Researchers could not identify them. Some scientists suggested shifting ice formations. Others believed geothermal activity caused the readings. But the movements followed patterns. Objects rose upward, changed direction, then vanished again. The deeper researchers studied the lake, the stranger the data became. Magnetic anomalies appeared beneath the ice. Some scans showed unusually geometric formations hidden below the lakebed. And then scientists realized something even more unsettling. Life inside Lake Vostok evolved separately from the rest of Earth for millions of years. An isolated ecosystem completely cut off from the modern world. In some ways, it may be more alien than the surface of another planet. Deep inside the Amazon rainforest, there are regions no outsider has ever fully explored. Satellite imagery can map the canopy above, but beneath the trees, the jungle becomes nearly impossible to navigate. The forest is so dense that sunlight barely reaches the ground. Entire sections remain untouched because entering them is simply too dangerous. Rivers suddenly disappear beneath vegetation. Insects carry deadly diseases. Communication equipment fails constantly under the thick canopy. Some uncontacted tribes defend these regions violently. But isolation is not the only reason scientists avoid the deep interior. The Amazon still contains species humanity has never documented. Camera traps near unexplored zones captured footage of unusually large black jaguars moving silently through the forest. Researchers also recorded strange vocalizations, unlike any known animal in the region. Some sounded almost human. Acoustic sensors placed deep in the jungle picked up rhythmic calls, repeating through the trees at night. The patterns were too structured to sound random. Researchers could not identify the source. Then local tribes began sharing similar stories. Across different regions of the Amazon, isolated communities describe massive bipedal creatures moving through the forest. Massive figures covered in dark hair. Some tribes refuse to enter certain areas entirely. Others leave offerings near specific sections of the jungle. The stories change slightly between cultures, but the descriptions remain disturbingly similar. Scientists dismiss most of these accounts as myths created by isolation and fear. But even now, huge parts of the Amazon remain completely unmapped. And every year, researchers continue finding species nobody knew existed. Buried beneath Antarctica is a hidden mountain range no human being has ever directly seen. The Gambertsev Mountains rise thousands of feet into the air, beneath more than 2,000 feet of solid ice. Scientists only discovered them because radar scans detected enormous structures hidden below the frozen surface. The mountains should not exist in their current form. Normally, mountains erode over millions of years. Wind, water, and ice slowly wear them down. But the Gambertsev peaks remain sharp and jagged, almost as if they formed recently. Researchers still do not understand how they survived intact beneath the ice. Then radar scans revealed something even stranger. Large rectangular formations appeared near the base of the mountains. Some stretched hundreds of feet across. Others appeared connected by massive underground caverns hidden beneath the ice sheet. Scientists believe many of the formations are probably natural rock structures, but not all researchers agree. In 2013, instruments detected weak radio pulses coming from the region. The signals repeated at regular intervals before suddenly stopping again. Natural geological activity rarely creates organized, repeating patterns like that. The timing became even stranger. The signals appeared strongest when the sun reached certain positions above Antarctica. It was almost like the mountains were reacting to solar activity. Researchers later discovered microscopic metallic particles trapped in ice above the peaks. Titanium and chromium concentrations appeared far higher than expected. Some scientists believe unusual mineral deposits beneath the mountains may explain the readings. Others are not so sure. Despite decades of study, nobody has ever physically reached the hidden mountain range itself. Everything humanity knows about the Gambertsev Mountains comes from instruments looking through ice. At around this point, scientists begin running into the same problem over and over again. The deeper humans explore isolated places on Earth, the harder reality becomes to explain. And nowhere demonstrates that better than the Congo Basin. The Congo Basin is the second largest rainforest on Earth. It stretches across Central Africa for more than 1 million square miles. Huge parts of it remain unexplored because the terrain is almost impossible to cross. The jungle floor exists in permanent darkness beneath towering trees and tangled vegetation. Some areas are so dense that moving 1 mile can take an entire day. Researchers entering the deep basin describe the environment as disorienting. Strange glowing fungi cover parts of the forest floor. Thick spores fill the air. GPS systems become unreliable beneath the canopy. And then there are the clearings. In 2017, aerial surveys captured massive circular openings deep inside the rainforest. Perfectly shaped areas where nothing seemed to grow. Soil samples from some sites showed unusual chemical properties that scientists still cannot fully explain. Then researchers documented something even stranger. Researchers found a population of chimpanzees displaying unusually advanced behavior. Unlike typical chimps, these animals spent long periods walking upright. Some appeared to sharpen sticks into primitive weapons. Others constructed simple structures using branches and leaves. The footage unsettled many researchers because the behavior seemed unusually coordinated, almost deliberate. Local stories describe larger creatures deeper in the forest, massive primates moving silently through the canopy far above the ground. Witnesses from different villages describe nearly identical encounters, despite living hundreds of miles apart. Most scientists remain skeptical, but they also admit something important. The Congo Basin is still so unexplored that entirely unknown species could realistically exist there right now. The Tonga Trench is the second deepest trench in the world. It stretches across the Pacific Ocean near one of the most volcanically active regions on Earth. Less than 1% of it has been explored. Underwater volcanoes constantly release superheated chemicals into the darkness. Entire ecosystems survive around these toxic vents without sunlight. Tube worms larger than humans cluster around boiling water, hot enough to melt lead. And prehistoric predators still patrol the depths. Frilled sharks with rows of needle-like teeth continue surviving there, almost unchanged from ancient fossil records. Megamouth sharks glide through the darkness using glowing mouths to attract prey. Many of these animals were once believed extinct, but the trench itself may contain something even stranger. In 2009, researchers recorded deep vibrations rising from below the sea floor. The sounds repeated every 14 hours with almost perfect consistency. Equipment aboard nearby ships shook during the events. Scientists still cannot identify the source. Some believe the sounds are geological. Others suspect underwater volcanic activity. But the repeating intervals suggest something far less random. Then, cameras captured movement. Massive shapes passed beyond the edge of visibility before vanishing into darkness. One recording appeared to show a creature with multiple elongated limbs moving through the water at impossible speed. The footage lasted only seconds. Then it disappeared. No known marine species matches what the camera recorded. And because of the trench's depth, returning to the exact location remains incredibly difficult. More than a mile beneath the surface of the Earth lies the deepest known cave system on the planet. The descent into Varyovkina cave stretches over 7,000 feet underground, through narrow tunnels, freezing water, and complete darkness. Very few people have ever reached the bottom. The deeper explorers descend, the stranger the cave becomes. Some chambers contain pale ecosystems, isolated from the outside world for millions of years. Transparent fish drift through underground pools. Massive spiders crawl across wet rock walls, untouched by sunlight. Then explorers found glowing formations. Crystals embedded inside the cave walls emitted faint light in total darkness. Scientists still debate what causes the effect. No fully accepted explanation exists, but the most disturbing discovery waits near the bottom: a perfectly still underground lake. Divers who entered the water reported strange temperature shifts happening without warning. Warm currents suddenly became freezing cold within seconds. Some described hearing sounds underwater that had no visible source. Others claimed the black water reflected almost no light at all. At those depths, the cave becomes psychologically overwhelming. Darkness feels physical. Sound travels unpredictably through flooded tunnels. Rescue missions become nearly impossible. And despite years of exploration, large sections of the cave system remain inaccessible. Humans have sent probes beyond the edge of the solar system. We have mapped distant planets, photographed black holes, and walked on the moon. But parts of our own world still remain completely beyond our reach. Hidden trenches, buried lakes, underground ecosystems, forests that resist exploration, places where strange signals continue appearing long after researchers leave, and the deeper humanity searches into Earth's last unexplored regions, the more it becomes clear that this planet is far less understood than we like to believe. Maybe the greatest unknown world was never out in space at all. Maybe it has been here the entire time. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe for more history mysteries.